Hey guys, today we are going to be testing out some new to me palettes. These are not new per se. I think one is like kind of new, the other one is reformulated. It's been around for a little while. So we're talking about Wicked Widow Beauty. I think it's Beauty. I keep saying cosmetics, but I think it's Wicked Widow Beauty. So I will of course have these linked down below. I have tried a couple of things from Wicked Widow in the past, but I want to say that these are reformulated or like upgraded formulas. I could be completely wrong. Don't quote me on that. But I have two palettes here. I have the Edward Scissorhand Part 2 palette. This palette is so beautiful. Like these colors, if these colors aren't just me in a nutshell, then I don't know what is, because I love this color story so much. There are a couple of things that I would probably change if it was like up to me, but I'll get into that later. But I think this is so pretty. I love this color story. And they also sent me the Tea Time palette. Is it called Tea Time palette? Yeah. I'm like, can you tell I'm not prepared? Anyway, this is the other palette. So this is their newest palette. This is more of, I would say for me, a companion palette just because of the color story. I feel like it's not as easy to come up with like cohesive looks with this palette as it is with the larger palette. And I also feel like the larger palette is missing some of the things that are in the smaller palette and vice versa. So we're going to do a couple of looks with these. I have done 2 looks already, which I will show you at the end of the video, but we're going to do 1 look on camera. I don't think I have a code or anything with this brand that I can remember at least. I will have it in the description box if I do. Just check there if you're ever curious. So yeah, I think we're just gonna go ahead and jump in. I'm going to prime with my Natasha Denona eyeshadow base. We'll talk about these palettes while I do my makeup, and yeah, it's gonna be a good time. I think for this look, I have a couple of colors in mind here that I really want to use that I haven't used yet, and I'll be honest, I'm not going to be able to try out everything in both of these palettes because I only have 2 eyes and there's a lot of shades in here. So I'm going to start with this shade as my transition shade, and I think I'm going to use the teal in this little palette, like the teal matte down here, which I can't quite show you, as my deepening shade. And then we'll see if I want to go any deeper than that, but I really want this to be like a very blue look, and I want to use maybe like the green and the blue on my lid or something like that. So we're going to start with this one. So I know that I have been doing mostly just like reviews and stuff lately, and I just want to like throw out a little disclaimer out there that like, just because I'm reviewing a lot of things and because I'm trying a lot of new things, don't ever feel like you need to keep up, because I'm trying a lot of makeup and I'm reviewing a lot of makeup and I have a lot of makeup, but that doesn't mean that you need to have a lot of makeup too. Like I've been watching a lot of, you know, people online, just creators who are saying that, oh, they're so overwhelmed with like all the new all the time and they're going on low buys and stuff like that. And like, that's not for me, but I totally understand that that's for a lot of people. And obviously, I'm very lucky to get a lot of these sent to me for free. Like if I didn't, I would not be buying all of these palettes myself and all of this makeup myself. Even though I love makeup, I would not be spending this much money on makeup. And so, you know, I appreciate all of you watching these videos, because I know that it's probably tempting to buy all of the new makeup, but just, you know, take a step back sometimes and be like, listen, maybe I don't need this. Maybe I can dupe this with things in my collection already. And I hope that you can watch my videos in more of a taking inspiration kind of way, and like seeing the looks that I do maybe, and you know, getting inspired to go play with your own collection. Like that is what I really want out of my videos and out of my channel, is just for you to discover the joy of makeup and, you know, having fun with makeup and playing with stuff and color combinations, and sure, maybe buy things here and there that you really like, but don't, again, like I said, don't feel like you need to buy everything that I'm trying, because it's a ridiculous amount of palettes, especially because that is what my channel is all about, and that is what I enjoy when it comes to makeup. I know a lot of people like everything in makeup, like foundations and cream bronzers and blah, 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 but I'm over here like, just give me the color cosmetics, because that is what I think is fun. Like, I think just being creative with colors is fun, and I feel like once I found like the other products that I kind of like to use, I don't need to try out all these new like foundations and concealers and all these things, because like what I'm using is working great for me. So I just want to kind of throw that out there, because I know my content has been very much like same lately, but on the other hand, that is the kind of content that I really enjoy doing. I'm gonna grab this teal shade and use that as my deepening shade. We'll see what I want to do underneath my eye here. Just gonna start that in the outer corner and see how these kind of build on top of each other. I love a good teal color. I feel like teal is so underrated, and I feel like it just looks good on everybody too, and you can use it in so many different ways. Like, this is a beautiful color. Oh yeah, I really like that. I think this is as dark as I want to go with this. I don't really think I want to deepen this up with anything else. Also, an update on the cinch brushes that I've been using a lot. I find myself grabbing these brushes honestly more than I thought I would. Like, when I tried them the first time, I was like, yeah, they're really nice, like I like them, but I really thought that I would still, you know, go back to a lot of my Rephr brushes and a lot of the brushes that, you know, I love and I use all the time. But there is something about a couple of these brushes, especially the one I'm using right now, which is like the small blending brush. This is the E05. It is the perfect size and perfect shape, I feel like, for my eyes, and it just fits into my crease and everything like just the way that I wanted to. And I find myself grabbing this one over all of the other kind of small blending brushes that I have because it just always does such a good job. Like, I really love this brush, and I feel like the flat brushes are beautiful as well. I mostly use them for shimmers and not for mattes. I know Angelica uses one of them for mattes as well, but for me, they're great with shimmers. They really pick up colors nicely. Even shimmers that are a little bit harder to work with, it seems to pick up beautifully. So I've been having a really good time with these brushes. So if you're interested in them, I would say go ahead. You're probably gonna like them if you like, you know, more of a detailed brush set. I think these are really, really nice. Also, I should probably mention it in this video, but there's probably not going to be a ton of videos from me in the next like 2 weeks or so. I do have some things going on that I'll just be sort of busy. I think I'm going to do some pinks underneath my eye because I am wearing like a purple t-shirt, and I think that could be kind of fun. So I'm going to start with this shade right here. But yeah, just don't expect too much content from me. I know a lot of people are super open online about, like, you know, what's happening in their real lives and stuff, and I just feel like I'm more of a private person and I don't like to share too much online because I don't know, I don't need shit to be online all the time. So I just would prefer to keep some of my, you know, life private, and I'm sure that you all understand because the internet can be mean sometimes. But anyway, yeah, I'm just gonna be busy the next couple of weeks, so nothing negative, nothing to be worried about. I'm deciding for myself, for my own well-being, to not be posting that much because I would rather focus on the things that are going on. So that is pretty much where I stand with that. So this might be one of my last videos for a little while, but we'll see. I might be able to get one more up before. I'm not going to be posting for that long. I'm going to take a little bit of probably this pink shade as well, which I have used yet, and I know I'm using these together. I don't think I said in the beginning of the video that I was going to do that, but I just feel like these palettes work so well together, and this to me is definitely a companion palette. Like, I just feel like the color story in this, there are two sort of dark shimmers in here, and there's a lot of light mattes, and I prefer the opposite. Like, I prefer my mattes to be darker than my shimmers, and so for me, I need to kind of use these as more of like transition shades to some of these other shimmers. And I also feel like it just makes more sense to me to not use this palette on its own, but of course, like I said in the beginning of the video, don't feel like you need to buy both. Like, you can probably buy one of them if you're really interested and then use it with something else that you have in your collection, and it's gonna work just fine. Or if you don't want to buy any of these, use what you have in your collection. Maybe you can do a similar look if you end up liking this look or any of the other looks that I've done. Makeup is just all about experimenting and having fun and trying new things, and it doesn't really matter what you're using. Like, sure, it's fun to, you know, try new makeup and have new makeup, like that is exciting, but at the end of the day, no one's really gonna know what's on your eyes. They're only gonna see the look and be like, wow, that is beautiful, you know, or like, that is so cool, or whatever their reaction is going to be. A lot of the time, they're not gonna be like, oh, what are you wearing on your eyes today? Like, it doesn't matter. So I'm just gonna work on the blends with the mattes in the outer corner here a little bit, just to make sure that I get somewhat of a cohesive outer corner here to make sure that everything is touching and blending together nicely. And we're going to do some of the shimmers. The shimmers I feel like are definitely the stars of the show in both of these palettes. Like the shimmers are so beautiful, and I've had pretty good luck with the wear time on these too, even though they are that kind of, some of them are more emollient than others. But I will say the shade that I used in the first look that I did with these, I used this one because I knew I was going to love it. This is like my favorite kind of shade. It wore so beautifully on me, and it looked so just like glass-like and shiny, and everything that I want in an eyeshadow. So been very impressed so far with both of these palettes, and I've had a really good time with them. So I'm gonna take one of the flat Cinch Beauty brushes. This is the E04, and I'm just gonna put on some glitter primer because I do feel like these shimmers, even though they don't need it, they just look better when you have a sticky base underneath. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use probably some of this shade on most of my lid. It's gonna be a little bit darker, I think, than the darkest of the mattes, but I think it'll be okay. And then we'll do, see, I wish there were like just a couple of lighter shimmers in there. I feel like a lot of the shimmers are of the same depth. Like these two are quite similar, and there's just a lot of greens and blue shimmers, which I love that, but like this is a shimmer, this is a shimmer, this is a shimmer. Like all of them are like kind of the same depth. I wish there was something like depth-wise like in between the iridescent ones and these ones. But I think I'm gonna do, yeah, I'm gonna start with the Tea Time palette, and I'm gonna grab this shade. I might just use that all over my lid. We'll kind of see how I end up liking this one, even though I'm sure I'm going to love it because it looks and swatches so beautifully. So I'm just gonna basically pack this on most of my lid here. That is really, really pretty. Yeah, that is beautiful. It is a little bit darker than I would have liked though, and I'm not sure how well it's gonna blend into my mattes here, just because it is a little bit darker than I would prefer. I always prefer my shimmers to be lighter than my mattes because I find it to be easier to blend them in together and get a good blend. But maybe I'll go in with something darker in the outer corner. We'll see. I feel like I'm able to get a decent blend here. And maybe I'll do, I haven't really used this shade. So this is more of an iridescent kind of duochrome purpley blue shade. I think we're gonna try that in the inner corner. I will say these iridescent shades are definitely more on the dry side and more kind of like satiny. They don't have that sort of highlighting consistency. They're not like, say, something like the Noctilucent palette from Blend Bunny. They don't have really sparkles in them. They're just, yeah, more of like a satiny shade. So I'm just gonna put that in the front portion of my lid here. I really do like the addition of these though. I do prefer when there are some sort of iridescent shades or something like that in palettes to be able to use them as inner corner highlights. I do wish they were a little bit maybe sparkly or more intense, but that is of course just personal preference. Like I prefer, or is it prefer, I'm trying to say, I appreciate when an iridescent shade can also be used on the face as a face highlighter. I think that's kind of what I was wishing out of these, because then it would be a little bit more versatile, but I feel like these are a little bit too much of a dry formula with quite a white base to them over being like super sheer and sparkly and iridescent. And I don't feel like these would really look that good on the face. But I haven't tried them, but I don't feel like this formula is really gonna be like perfect for what I'm looking for a face highlighter. But I do think that they look really nice as inner corner shades. Am I happy with this? Is this all I'm going to do? I'm also going to take, I think, a little bit of this shade, which I have used in the same way already. And I'm just gonna put that basically underneath my eye, like right here. I think this is a beautiful shade for doing this. And I said I wanted this look to be all blue. And now we're here with purple too. That's what happens. All right, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and finish up with this look. I'm gonna do some lashes, just like a little bit more blending, just to make sure it is exactly the way that I want it to be. And then I will come back and show you the other looks that I've done as well, because I really like the looks I've done with this palette. Okay, so after about half an hour, I don't know if it's been that long of fiddling trying to get my lashes to look good. I think I finally got there and I think they look okay, but I had to take this lash off like 2 times and then put it back on because apparently I just suck today. It's just one of those bad lash days, and I realized that I'm actually going somewhere tonight and I forgot that in the morning, and I was like, well, I need my lash to look good because if I'm gonna leave the house, it better look all right. So that's where I'm at. So let's see, I'm gonna show you the other 2 looks that I've done with these palettes as well, and you can tell me if you like them or not, but I've had a really good time with this palette. I think that, like I said in the beginning, the color story is really fun, and I feel like despite it being sort of a blue and green and purple heavy color story, like mixing those 3 colors, you can do a lot with this. And I really like the first look that I did just because I love the shimmer shade that I used on my lid. Most of these looks were very simple. I didn't do anything like crazy or anything out of the norm really when it comes to like shapes and stuff like that, but I just wanted to test out the formula in a way that I like to do my makeup, and so that's just kind of what I ended up doing. But the first look turned out so pretty, and like I said in the beginning of the video too, that shimmer shade that I used on my lid looked so beautiful all day. It wore so nicely, and I absolutely loved wearing it, and I could see myself reaching for like that shade in particular again. The second look that I did, I wanted to play more with sort of like the neutral-y tones. They're not really neutrals, they're more like grungy neutrals and like, I don't know, alternative neutrals in a way, but they're really pretty. And I really like the way that the green shade worked with the sort of brownish shade, and the way that they mixed together, it really made it into like a very grungy crease, and I enjoy that look a lot, even though it's not something that I would normally reach for. And I do think that the shimmers that are chosen in these palettes definitely make sense. And again, I know I use both of the palettes together, but that's just sort of what I felt like was the right thing to do with the way that I like to do my makeup. And since they are from the same brand, I figured it was a good way to sort of just test out the formulas in both while still being able to do the looks that I like to do. So that's just kind of what I ended up doing, and I hope that's okay with you guys that I didn't use the palettes like individually and tried to do looks with them, because I just feel like, especially the little palette, I could probably think of like 1 or 2 looks that I would do with this that I'd be happy with, but I know that I would be wishing for like a lighter shimmer in this palette just to complete the look, so I just felt like I wanted to use them both together. And yeah, like I said, I think the formulas are really nice. The mattes are a little bit more on the buildable / sheer side than maybe I would prefer, but they do perform well on the eyes. I haven't had any issues like building on them or anything like that, and it also just depends on the color. Like some colors are more opaque than others, and I just haven't had the time to be able to try out all of them because there's just a lot of colors in here and I only have 2 eyes. So yeah, I would say overall my impression of both of these palettes is they're really nice, and I don't think that anybody who bought them would be disappointed in the quality. I think they're beautiful palettes, and so yeah, I'm really happy I have them in my collection. Let me know if you've tried this brand or if this is a brand that you are interested in. I'm definitely going to be keeping my eyes out to see what else they release, because I have a feeling I'll be wanting to pick it up because these are really pretty palettes and I enjoy them a lot. So I think that's pretty much going to be my review on these palettes. Let me know if you've tried the brand. Let me know if you're interested in trying the brand. If you want to know the rest of my face and everything else I'm wearing, I'm going to mention that in my makeup diary series, which I usually do because I feel like it's just a better place for me to kind of like talk about everything while still having the, you know, dedicated videos be dedicated to the products that I'm actually focusing on. So I think that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you want to see some more indie makeup reviews or let's do multiple look videos, I will put my playlist up on the screen. And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.